how do you personally go about finding interesting places to travel to? And do you have like a systematic way of finding interesting people in those places? I think the one thing I'm still lacking from travel is finding local communities and not just like going with a preset group that I already know.
Yeah. Okay. So let's start there. I think as far as interesting places to travel, that's going to be totally unique to you. Like, for example, going to Brazil. So when I really started traveling heavy, I was probably in my early 20s. And
Mhm.
I went down to Brazil with a group of fellas. But what I'm very good at is connecting with locals and staying in touch with locals.
Yeah,
It,
yeah,
it's not that I was, I mean, Brazil is beautiful. It's not that I was fascinated with Brazil. It's just that my connections to those locals were strong enough that I wanted to go reinvest in my relationships with them. Because if you think about it, going back to a place knowing that there are people waiting for you, it changes the whole dynamic of it
yeah. Mhm.
totally. So whenever I do go somewhere for the first time, so let's say Lebanon, right? I'll be back in Lebanon again tomorrow. The first time I went to Lebanon was November of 2019. The reason I chose to go to Lebanon, and usually I would travel by myself, but in that case, I chose a particular group. Write this group down. It's called Unsettled. The website is beunsettled.co. One of my best resources. The other resource you should write down is Outsite, Outsite.
Outside.
Yep, the website is outsite.co. So usually I would go on my own, Owen, but in this case, I wanted to go to Lebanon because I served in Turkey. It's in
Mhm.
the Mid East. I was interested and it just struck me as an opportunity. But once I got there, true to form, within 2 days, I left the group because
Mhm.
I met so many people and started exchanging phone numbers and I started getting invited to like different local things all over the place. And then I have just leaned into that environment, learning crevices of the country that people just don't know about. And now I can operate there on my own. So I'm always there. I don't have a systematic way of choosing something, but once I go somewhere, I lean into it. And the way that I lean into it is by connecting with people big time.
Gotcha. So you kind of just go there and then kind of share yourself with as many people as you can.
Absolutely.
People that resonate with you, you tend to just gravitate towards over time.
And I don't know if they're going to resonate. I mean, you don't know unless you talk.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Or go to an event or use TripAdvisor to go to, like TripAdvisor, for example, will have, you can go have dinner at a local family's house and you sit down and you connect with them and they tell you about their family and their country and like Airbnb has those types of things too. I'm not talking about the local tours. I'm not really interested in that stuff. I'm interested in anything that will bring me closer to someone's personal environment so I can learn.
Yep. Exactly. Mhm.
And then WhatsApp, and then I'm very good at staying in communication with people when I'm at a distance via WhatsApp. Right?
Yeah.
So like maybe 10 people know I'm on my way back to Lebanon already, right?
Mhm.
And my entire schedule for the next week is already full before I even get there.
Gotcha. Have you found any patterns of the types of people that you tend to be interested in and also are like developing these relationships with? So the comment I wrote here is that yeah, I used to think in terms of like the people I resonate with most would be the people that have like similar interests in me, whether or not that be like activities or occupation or just like school activities.
Yeah.
Um, it turns out all like looking back, like all my best friends, all the people that I really seem to connect with, kind of just arrive in like sporadically, like a random classmate or a random roommate, and it's never when I'm like actively seeking like, oh, I want to find a community that plays basketball that I find my best friends for some reason.
Um, I tend to be attracted to polar opposite. Like if I'm traveling overseas, I don't typically like to, and I mean this in a respectful way, but I don't typically interact with Americans, for example.
Yeah,
I don't want to. That's not why I'm there. I'm not like I don't go to Beirut and then go to the party at the American embassy.
yeah,
That's not why I want to be there. If someone is involved in real estate, I mean, I think it's a good bridge that I can talk with them about. But I'm not always in the money mindset kind of thing, right?
mm,
It's it's that try life on principle. It's what's in it for them. What can I do for them? Because if I can do something for them, listen, it's good that you're asking me these questions because it will draw out for me personal things that I think will help you. And
mhm,
here's one of the personal things. In 2015, when I was deployed to Turkey and I ran a federal law enforcement field office in Western Turkey, I
Mm.
came back and I was having a tough time, and I figured out my whys. I figured out my purpose in life relative to reflecting on that trip. And I have three purposes in life. One is to be in love. I am just a better human when I'm in a good, committed relationship.
Yeah.
Two is to be loved by a community. And that's where I think you might want to pay attention.
Yeah.
If you are loved by a community, what that means is you have done something for them.
Yeah.
You've done something for them. So there are still people who, let's say in DC, shop owners and parents or whatever, who still call me from my police days. Like, hey, we have this problem. Like they're still grateful. When I was in Turkey or even in Lebanon, I do a lot of philanthropy work now. I actually go door to door with money, solving people's problems with the priests that I befriended, etc. So I'm always trying to do stuff for people. One, because selfishly it makes me feel good. And two, it's the right thing to do. And what better way to get to the heart of something, right? I just have a lot of people over there who respect who I am and what I do. So now when they see me around or happen to see me post on Instagram and know that I'm in town, they will go out of their way to connect me to a, a myriad of different things, right? I'm not thinking about me when I travel. I'm thinking about people. What can I do to help people? And then inevitably I benefit big time, always.
Yeah. And what's your third one? To be in love,
Yes, be loved by a community, and constant learning.
constant learning.
I am not good when I got to 25 years in Accenture, I wasn't learning anymore, right? I needed something different. When I got to financial freedom with the single family stuff, I wasn't learning anymore. I was just executing. I needed different.
Yeah.
So what you sense from me about the travel is not so much I want to see every country, is I kind of want to keep learning about different people, different things, different places, different business models. I don't want to be in a room where I know everything ever.
Yeah.
Those are
Yeah.
my three whys that keep me going. And when one is off, like I'm off. I am like if I all of a sudden start being selfish and I don't do stuff for people and I'm just thinking about myself and my own family, it doesn't work for me.
Yeah. That's a really good point what you made about traveling to for the purpose of like providing for others and not just yourself.
Yes.
I've noticed that myself as well. Like whenever I try to I over itinerize my vacations or like plan everything out in front without leaving room for just like spontaneous adventure or like discovering things.
Yeah.
Yeah, like traveling is empty. It's not like a enjoyment in of itself without
It's
the
well, I mean, I think it's fine for certain people, but for someone like you, and I'm just getting to know you now over the last month. I have a sense of what you're trying to do. I have a
Mhm.
sense that you really want to have an impactful and meaningful life and not just be reliant on money. And for someone like you, this type of framework of giving to people, what's in it for them, wherever like you're in Banff right now. I'm sure you're doing more family oriented stuff and whatever. But can you imagine there was like, I don't know, not a soup kitchen, but some development group around that is more environmentally focused or whatever, and you decide you're going to go on a cleanup march with them for 5 hours, okay?
Mm.
And that group will most likely be a lot of locals who
Mhm.
care about Banff. Well, here's this dude named Owen, and you're there for 5 hours with them, which means you're going to engage in conversation with them, which means like, yo, what's it like to live up here? Because I love coming here, but I don't want to be the tourist who just shows up here. Tell me what it's like to live here. Where do you go? What do you do? And then you just start making friends with people. And then the next time, and here's the key to me. It's like you make friends with people, and let's say two, three people you connected with, right? You're staying in touch with them while you're gone, and you decide the next month, hey, I'm on my way back. I'm going to be there for the next walk. That investment, maybe you don't necessarily want to see Banff, but what I suspect you want is meaningful relationships with people.
Yep.
That investment in time and space is the thing that will change your life. It has changed my life over and over and over again, and it continues. Not
Is,
money.
yeah. Is like volunteering and meeting people at these local events your main way of found ways to use like I guess your professional or like real estate ambitions to connect with people abroad?
Yeah, I mean, I think when I talk to people, but to be honest, I don't like talking about what I do.
Mm, yeah.
So I'm not so interested in, let me talk to a real estate investor in Lebanon because I'm a real estate investor.
I see.
No, I'm not interested. It's more, what do they do and how. Here's an example. This is probably the best example I can give you. One of my best friends in Lebanon now is, his name is Maher, and he runs Set Winery. Set, the number 7 in French, SEPT, Set Winery. I met Maher when I went with that group in 2019. That group was invited to that winery to just see it, right?
Mm.
Christelle, his wife, was one of the facilitators of the group, so she brought us up there. And when Maher was talking inside of his small winery that he built on land that his father owned, and his dad died in the Civil War, in the Lebanese Civil War back in the 90s, this guy recaptured this land, had the balls to fucking build a winery on it, left the France finance sector to come reclaim the land, and just had this idea and just started doing this thing, okay? And when the people were in the very small winery, they were talking over him.
Mm.
And it really pissed me off. It really, like, I'm a very calm person until I'm not, right?
Yeah.
So I pretty much kind of stood up, was like, would you guys shut the fuck up? This man is actually sharing his whole life and what his dad did and his legacy, and you guys are over there talking, like, cackling like tourists, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, we became friends. He has visited my restaurants in DC. Every time I go back to Beirut, typically I go up to his winery to hang out with him. Now we're talking about taking a trip to Cyprus together. We've just become the best of friends. And when I've had some personal issues in Lebanon, he's the first dude to raise his hand to help me. Those types of relationships, when you can sense an opportunity, again, the what's in it for them. I stood up for him. I stood up for his family's legacy, and he remembered it. And I talk about his wines all the time. I introduce people. I'm even helping him now. This is what you were asking. Sorry to be long-winded, but this is what you were asking. Maurice, do you use business? And I said, not really, until it makes sense. I know people in the restaurant business here. He lost his US wine distributor. So now I'm asking all my restaurant buddies, hey, there's this amazing wine from Lebanon. I would love to get this guy connected with a wine distributor, even to the extent where I'm considering, should I open a distribution business?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Very long thing, but the value of that relationship, I cannot express to you the wealth it has given me.
Mm-hmm. And it all stemmed from just standing up for something that you.
What's in it for him? That's what it stemmed from. Just me worrying about. I don't like when people are disrespectful.
Yeah.
Right. So on your travels, Owen, look for the opportunities to plug into people in a way that benefits them. Okay, so simple one, Uber driver. Maybe you do get an Uber driver from the airport, but you ask the Uber driver for his WhatsApp number, and you tell him, look, I'm going to be here all week. I'd love if maybe you can do some dedicated driving for me. If you're available, let's make it happen. You know what I mean?
Yep. And
then maybe you're paying him even a bit more because he's kind of hanging around waiting for you, which that's not going to be a ton of money out of your pocket, but you know what will come of it? You make a friend. He or she is telling you unique stuff all over the city. You may end up getting a beer one night or something like that. Like, people are looking just to get there, and I'm looking for relationships.
Yeah, that's
the biggest
very
part of
subtle. Yeah, like a change in frame of mind, but that is so different. Yeah.
Yep. I travel hack, but that's the biggest hack I have, that everything's about relationships and people.
Mm.
I didn't know, by the way, that my focus was like this until I started reflecting when I started doing all this coaching. So it's not like I had it all hashed out. It's just my nature. But if your nature can shift a little bit this way, it will like, you understand the example I'm giving for Banff, and it's kind of making sense, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever even thought in that like mindset before. Like, the purpose of traveling is to, like, seeking out these local communities and how to plug into people in ways that benefit them, rather than just getting there through travel hacking.
Yeah. travel hacking. On your Try Life on Principle sheet, one of them says the purpose of travel is to extend your world, not visit theirs.
Extend your world, not stir.
Yes. So what you're doing is extending your world. If you were extending your world in California, then you would be making friends out and about. If you're extending your world when you go into Banff, now you make a decision. If I'm going to Banff, I don't know that I don't know that Banff is a place that resonates with my soul, right? But let's say it did. I felt it as soon as I got there. Then I would know, like, oh my God, I'm gonna build family here. I'm gonna connect in a meaningful way. I'm gonna extend my world to this place. So when you hear me talk about Lebanon, Cyprus, maybe sometimes Turkey, it doesn't even resonate to you as funny anymore. You're just like, no, Maurice is just going where he goes, right? I've extended my world. My world is Washington, D.C., Lebanon, Cyprus, and sometimes some other places. But that's my world now, not just D.C.
But you didn't know that Lebanon, for example, truly resonated with you until you just visited.
In 2015, I said to myself I was going to live in the Mediterranean. I didn't know where, how, when. And this whole thing has happened in the last 4 years. If you would ask me in 2015 if I thought it would be Lebanon, no. Like I don't know, Greece, Italy, maybe Spain, Malta. Somehow my life has ended up in Lebanon, man, and that's where I'm rolling with it.
Wow. Yeah, super insightful. Last thing is just
Yeah.
I was wondering what your setup is for like finding these
Yeah.
cheap travel. Mine is like, instead of being loyal to one airline, like I have a bunch of credit cards that kind of transfer to different places, and it takes time to like hunt for these deals
Right.
sometimes. I was wondering if you had,
So
more.
I'm totally different. I am loyal to one family of airline. I'm very loyal to one family.
I see.
Here's my setup. And I'm not saying it's the best setup, but it's the one that works for me, and I have zero interest in optimizing it. It works.
Yeah.
I'm DC based.
Mm-hmm.
I tell people you want to be loyal to the airline that of the city where you live to the extent possible. So I'm DC based. United is the major airline in DC.
Yeah.
You either want to be loyal to the airline that is your hub, or loyal to the airline that goes to where you want to go. So I don't really fly south. I don't look. I go to Mexico from time to time. I haven't been back to Brazil in 15 years, 20 years. I don't have much interest in South America. I do have interest in Europe and the Mideast. I love them both. United is part of the Star Alliance family. So once I get to Frankfurt or Charles de Gaulle in Paris or Istanbul, I can get anywhere in the world pretty much. And I just continue with the partner airlines because I have status on United, etc. So I base loyalty with the airline where I live, and I like to continue to use those because I'm not always trying to get a free ticket. Sometimes, like, I want to maintain my 1K status with United.
Yeah.
So I do buy tickets from time to time because I have to do a certain amount of miles every year paid to get that done. But it's all in what you want. Like for me, what I want is comfort, convenience, and that they know me. So if I have 1K status, I walk in the airport and everybody, like, they just kind of part the sea for you, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then it gets you into lounges. I usually connect to Lufthansa, or when I'm in Greece area, it's Aegean Airlines, which is a United partner. I want all my points dumping to the same thing, right?
Yeah.
And then I have one United business credit card, one United personal credit card. Like everything goes to United. I could probably
You
do
only have
that.
2 cards.
What's that?
So you only have 2 cards.
That's all I got is 2 cards, bro. I could get more. I could get an Amex because Amex gets you into this. And I get all that. I want a simple life. I'm not like, if I can't get in a lounge somewhere, okay, like I'll survive. It's not a big deal. But you do want to be, if you're going to travel the way that I suspect you are going to travel, you do want to have some level of loyalty to a family of airlines, just so you're benefiting from status over time.
I see. Yeah, because I'm definitely getting to a point where, like, the more credit cards you start stacking on, the more complicated it is to like optimize, like compare between. And
Yeah, which is to me,
Really
it's
a waste of time. Yeah.
counterproductive to what I think you are trying to be. Like you and I are trying to have a light blueprint, just exactly the way that you said, I just travel with a carry-on and a backpack and I'm good. I
Mhm,
don't know the last time I've checked a bag, maybe 10 years ago. I don't know. I have no idea.
mhm.
I want a light footprint. I want airline loyalty so I can travel hack with them. Listen, it was 5 grand, and I'll tell you how I looked for the tickets this time, okay, to get to Beirut. Now, there's 3 to 4 million Lebanese expats going back to Lebanon this summer because they all come back every summer.
Mhm,
So the tickets are insane. The way
mhm,
that people usually get to Beirut is they go through Germany or Paris or London, and they connect and they'll fly on Middle East Airways, which is the Lebanese airline down.
mhm.
Middle East Airways right now, and all the airlines like Coach, if you're lucky, you're paying 2 to 3 grand if you're lucky. But I am aware that United has a seasonal flight from DC to Athens, Greece. It's a direct flight.
Mhm,
I got that flight. I tried to hack that flight to get a business class ticket. I just couldn't because that flight is too popular.
mhm,
But I got a Coach miles ticket, so that was just $20 to get that ticket.
mhm,
And then when I get to Athens, I'm flying Middle East Air, and that flight, which is not a popular flight for Middle East Air, so it's kind of empty, was $290. So to
Gotcha,
get there, $300 to get there, while other people are paying 2 to 5 thousand.
gotcha. So you
Yeah,
find ways to hack these like layovers to
yeah,
on popular cities to
yeah.
get.
Because like the Middle East flight from Athens will not show up on Orbitz or Expedia or one of those things. You have to know it, and that comes with time. So like Turkey, for example, if I'm flying in Turkey, there's 2 low-cost carriers that do not show up on the search engines. One is Pegasus Air and the other one is called Sunrise Air. I just know them, right? So I will go check them. Cyprus Air does not show up on, sometimes does not show up on Orbitz. There's this thing called Ryanair does not show up on Orbitz, and Ryan is kind of the JetBlue of Ireland, but it goes everywhere.
Mhm,
What is Han Air Systems? HAHN, Han Air Systems. They are this weird private carrier contractor flight thing that flies in Europe and sometimes to the Mideast. They are not on any search capability whatsoever. You just have to know that they're around, and they do it weird seasonal times, and their tickets will be like $90. People can optimize this shit all they want, but what I encourage you to do is just like the way that I have my system. I'm United. I go to my places. My hub is here. I'm loyal to them. I got 2 credit cards that dump all the points when I live my life. Simple. I'm good. Like I don't want to go out to the points guy and figure out where can I get 1.30 points. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not doing all that.
Yeah, that's definitely where I was for a little bit.
Well, it takes that, but then it starts to become a job.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And then here, I'll tell you the one ultimate hack. The one ultimate hack is using relationships to become friends with someone who works at the airline you care about.
Mm,
So I have a relationship like that. One of my boys works for United, so I'm on his account as a friend. So I can go into the employee system, I can see boarding totals, I can see. So when I'm booking tickets, I look at standby, I look at boarding totals, I look to see if points make sense, I look to see if buying the ticket with an employee discount makes sense.
mm.
I have a lot of options, but again, it's just something that
Yeah,
I
but that's a lot
created
less
over time.
options. That's a lot less options than having to optimize with different airlines.
Yeah, I don't want to, man. I feel weird when I get on Delta or American. If I'm not on a United flight, I don't even like going sometimes. Sometimes I won't even sometimes I'll skip a direct flight on a competitor airline, and I'll take a United flight because one, they care about me, and two, I want the points.
Yeah, exactly.
Hopefully that's helpful.
No, that was extremely helpful. Yeah, it seems like most things that, yeah, like most things always stem back to relationships, and
Everything.
that's what you truly value. Yeah.
Everything stems back to relationships. The more I get to reflect on my own journey as I talk to you guys, the more I realize that most of my success outside of my initial run was because of relationships.
Mm.
That's all. And Owen, you got me talking this morning. I think it's a good thing. I am no longer optimizing for money anymore. I am optimizing for relationships and experiences and life. And you're not there yet, but I'm telling you, at some point down the road, you're going to hit a wall where you're going to be like, this making money shit is cool,
Mhm.
but I'm starting to realize that life is ticking. It's ticking. Now, you're so early in the game. Please don't take 47-year-old Maurice's thing, but you know my mindset well enough to know that no, if he's saying it, like there's something to it, right?
Yeah.
Like my partners are like, hey, let's go to this conference. We should go down to this family office conference to raise money. In the
Mhm.
back of my head, I didn't say it, but back of my head, I'm like, I'm not going.
Mm.
No, I'll be in Lebanon somewhere or in the Mediterranean or with my kids or I don't know. I don't know. Everything's about relationships, family, experiences, love, having fun now and but set up your systems to get yourself to this point and keep everything light and easy.
Cool. Yeah.
That was a lot.
Yeah. That was really powerful.